Welcome back to GRD131, Graphic Design 1, to part 4 of our Fall Harvest Fest Billboard. I hoped I could finish up with 3 parts, but here I am at part 4. But I don't think this should take too long, of course, before I'm saying, here we are at part 5. But anyway, let's finish up with part 4. And one thing that I didn't mention, so I'm going to go back into Gravit here, and I'm going to make sure you save. I didn't mention to save at the end of the last video, so I should have done that. So where we are is we're doing okay here, and we put some graphics in here. I'm going to zoom in right now, and some of the issues we have, I made this bold. That looks okay, and that's bold, so we have some consistency. I don't like it all bold, but it is a billboard, so it's in little groups, so it's not sticking out from anything else. It's just all in a bold font. Now, this thing here is a problem because this is in orange, and also I'm clicking here, and that photo is getting selected, so I'm having a hard time with this. So I might have to go and look at my layers panel because the image is on top. Now, this thing that says hay rides, I can't even click on this, but if you ever want to get to something, let's lock the image, and it's just locked, then you won't grab it. So now I can grab this, and that's called Enjoy Hay Rides, and I think I had that named from the other one. So now I'm going to go to View, and I'll hide my layers by just unchecking it. Let me move it to the top. It may not be on top of the image. Actually, let me go back. Oh, now I have it on top. This thing, when you do this, it goes down, up and down the layers. So I did move it up to the top, and it did go above the image. I didn't know if it would go above it if it's locked, but it did. So that's on top, and it actually stands out a little better now. But let me hide my layers palette again, and let me look at the color. Should I make it a darker? We could go a little darker, a little brighter, but it may need something. It may need a black outline. It may need something. It may need to be in a box or something. It's not popping in front of that because of the picture in the back. So let's try just putting a border on here, and we'll go down to border, and I'll hit add, and I don't like it so far, but let's make sure that it's in the back, and it is. It's on the outside. Let's make it a little thicker, and I'll just put it on 2, and not liking it at all. I mean, it does stand out, but it doesn't make it readable. See, here's the thing. There's more contrast there, but it kind of makes all the letter forms harder to read. So hopefully you can see that on screen. So I'm going to click here, and before I do anything, I'll try white. Let's see what white looks like. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe it needs to be white. And no, it just makes it look more washed out. Now, what if we put black, another outline? Now, we can do that. We could actually put another border, and I'll just try it. And, I'm just trying things here, so let's add a border. Now, this is a black one, and I'll make it maybe not that much, maybe 4, and then I'll drag it down. You got to be careful here. You go on the 3 dots and then drag it down, and make sure you don't see that little trash can. I don't know why it's even doing that, but if you go too far, it tries to delete it. So just go down as far enough so that it goes underneath, and now the black is under there. And let me make it thicker let me try 5 and see how that looks. And that's not too bad, although again, the white and the orange just isn't working. So that whatever I'm doing there is not working. So I'm going to get rid of these borders because they're just not working. So I could turn them off. And what's going to work here? Well, we could make a little box to put them in. Let's try that. Let's just make a box. Because remember, there was one design thing, we were talking about typography, and it says make a box. So what if we made a white box? And I'll make it white. I'll move it down. I'll bring this in front of it. Now I could just hit the bring to front a couple times. And now it's in front. And I'll just bump it down. Now what happens if we put that in a white box? Like that. Would that work? Well, it still seems like this should be darker. I still want an orangey. But that looks a little better, I think. And I'm going to zoom in even more here because now we got this box on top of it. Now, could we extend this thing? Could we do different things? I'm going to leave it in the box for now. I don't know if I'm crazy about that. And I could even I could select this box and turn down the opacity of the box just a little bit. So it's not as white, but it helps the background. And I think I'm going to do that for now. And I'm going to highlight right through these because I can, because I locked this photo so I could highlight through those things. I'm going to move these things up a little bit and just leave a gap there. And it doesn't look too bad. You got to be careful. There's a lot of different things going on. But at least that's the same as that. And at least these are all the same fonts. I might want to actually highlight this whole block and just move it over a little bit so that the H here is underneath the S, even though the white block goes out a little bit. I think that looks okay. Now we still need to make this thing pop. This is still a problem. Now I'm going to just nudge it over a little bit, and I'm going to zoom in and make sure it's in front of everything. Now there are grays here and stuff. Now be careful, it is an EPS graphic, meaning it's all vector art in here, but what I'm going to do is just make an ellipse, try to make it around the same size. I'll kind of go in the corner where it is and just kind of almost mimic the shape of it best I can and make it white, and then I'll just nudge it up over a little bit, and I'll use the send to back. Now this might have to go back a couple times. And actually, what did I send to back? I might have sent the logo to the back. Let me bring that forward again. All right. I don't know where the hell my thing. Oh, there it is. There it is. Let me bring that forward. All right, there it is. Now this thing has to go forward. I should be looking at the layers panel, but I'll bring this forward a couple times. I'll just keep doing it until it gets in front. There we go. Now I'll kind of just nudge this over a little bit, nudge it up, nudge it over, and that's not too bad. Doesn't have to be perfect, but now it has a nice white background and that stands out nice. Now, you know, it'd be nice if you had some color over here, like orange or something. Actually, as I'm doing that, and as long as I got this white thing, now it's really hard to get the white thing, and there's that circle. I'm going to bring that down just a little bit, and maybe I'll put a stroke on that. Now it's not perfect, but maybe I'll put a stroke on that, make sure it goes to the outside, and maybe I'll make it orange. Now that's way too thick, obviously. Now, if I'm not sure if I'm selecting the logo or that, do I see a stroke over here? And I don't, so that's not it. Now I'm seeing a stroke. So you got to be careful with that. You could even move it down and then nudge it back up. If you want to click on this logo and then kind of nudge it down and then work on this, and it has a fill and it has a stroke, and maybe I'll make this orange. I'll just click orange from there right now, and obviously make it smaller. It doesn't need to be so thick. I'll make it like 5. See how that looks, and then put this back up here and zoom out, and that doesn't look too bad. And I'll zoom in a little bit here. The reason it doesn't look too bad is because the orange kind of balances off a little bit, because we have all this orange over here, so that's where we get a little balance. So let's just look at this here. We have a focal point here, comes in with the pumpkin. This is hierarchy. This is the most important. This is second. Everything else is kind of third. I guess the logo might be fourth. This whole element here, I'm not sure if that should be centered up and down, if we should move it down, put it in the middle, or have it closer to the top. I'm not sure about that yet. You know, some of this stuff, it takes a while. Laying out a billboard is not easy. It's not something you can do in 5 minutes, especially the kind of money they're putting into it. This could probably be a little bit bigger, so it goes over to the end. Actually, that looks okay, and it fits in this little nook here. Now, this thing here, I think it's just a tiny bit too big over here, so I'm just going to select the logo, nudge it down. Oh wait, that's the graphic. So as long as I have that, that's what I wanted. I'm just going to make it 4. That should be okay. It's just a little bit smaller, and obviously we're not using like Photoshop effects and glows and all that kind of stuff. But you know, we do have some of those things in here, but that should be good. And it makes that logo stand out. This thing stands out okay. It's not great. I don't know. Maybe it would be better orange with white type. Maybe this orange, maybe it's just getting lost too much. Maybe if we went in here and said, let's make this type, instead of orange, let's make it white. And then this background box, if we could select it, instead of being white, let's make it orange. Let's click on this thing and pick out an orange color. And I think the opacity is down a little bit. That's why it looks kind of muted. I have to click on the edge there. And yeah, the opacity is down. So let's really pop that and maybe go a little bit brighter and zoom out. And actually, I like it. I think it looks better just with that. That pops now. And I'm even going to nudge this over. So I'm going to get rid of this. I don't think I need the address. I don't think I need invites you to there. And I think this is okay. I think from where we started with nothing, just throwing some stuff in here. It's not perfect. This little blend between the one photo and the other isn't perfect. But again, we're working in Gravit, so we're not working in Photoshop. If we were doing this for real, we might do something in Photoshop and then bring the whole image in together, like do the blend together on 2 layers and bring it together. We're trying to fudge it in Gravit, and it's okay. I think some things I like about this, I like the white outline. I think it really pops over the photo, and it leads you from the photo into the rest of the billboard, and it leads you down to this. We certainly can follow where the dates are. That's pretty easy to read. It's a nice sans serif font here. I think this orange pops nice. I like that. It was just kind of a last minute thing, but it seems to work. And then we have the website here. And so we have all the information we need. So if you think about what we're doing here, if someone drives by this billboard, oh, Fall Harvest Fest Saturday. Oh, it's Saturdays in October. It's Stony Brook Farms. Now, maybe this logo could be set off better, but oh, it's Stony Brook Farms and stonybrookfarms.com. It's all the usual kind of fall stuff that they have there, but it's not a bad-looking billboard. I don't have a border on it. I could put a border on the edge of it so it doesn't get kind of bleached out here, but this would be out in the wild, so we wouldn't have to worry about seeing it on the white here. I could even hide the guides if I want to. I could go to View Canvas and turn off Show Guidelines, and it doesn't look too bad. If I look at this one, that has its own kind of look. And I changed a lot of things about this. I changed it to all sans serif fonts. This one, I maintained the font that we were using on the flyer, still worked with kind of the offset kind of alignment here, so that this kind of is a transition between the photo and the rest of the layout. This still creates some movement, so we still have a diagonal going on here. We still have some movement. Remember, billboards, we always want to go from top left to bottom right, and we're still doing that. And I think everything's kind of leading in here. This gets more prominent with the orange on there, and it kind of continues the orange. It kind of creates like an arrow over here. It goes from the pumpkin, the round pumpkin shape, then we have this thing, and it goes into the logo. And maybe this whole logo element could be kind of even nudged up a little bit. That's fine too. You don't want it to get too crowded in there, but I think it looks okay. I think for what we're attempting to do here, and again, I didn't plan this out because obviously I did this last time, and this looks completely different, and you saw what I was doing. This is, 4 videos that we've been working on this, so I think this looks pretty good, and we've kind of discovered a whole bunch of different things to do and Gravit. I mean, talk about a free program doing a layout like this. That's pretty cool. We were able to bring photos in here and crop them and do different things. Now, it's not perfect because we didn't use a Photoshop type program at all, but we're able to lay out a pretty nice looking billboard after starting with a flyer, just a black and white flyer. So hopefully you can try different things with it. The idea is not to follow exactly what I did, but to follow some of the elements that I'm doing. Some of the layout elements, some of the photo things. Maybe you're going to do a different photo and something else will come out of it. Maybe you won't put a background photo. Maybe you'll put a background color, different things. And you can see I'm just trying things out as I go. I didn't have this planned out. I still didn't like that area that had the orangey, it just didn't pop. And now it pops with that orange color over it. Would it pop if this stuff was black? Maybe. I don't know. I didn't try that yet. Would it pop like that? Not as much. It's harder to read, especially from far away. Because remember, if you're driving in your car, I'll just undo that. It looks better like that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to see, oh, cornfield maze. Something just has to pop out at you. If you're driving by, you have to see, oh, Fall Harvest Fest, Stony Brook Farms. That's the important thing. What it is, the logo, and oh, it's Saturdays in October. And then the other stuff, if they get a chance to see it, or if somebody else in the car is sitting there, they could see it. Whatever else you do. No one's going to be studying your billboard layout for the exact design principles, but what we're doing here, we're following the principles. Notice I'm focusing on alignment. I want to make sure this aligns here. Something aligns. Now, it doesn't have to be, everything, but at least I'm aligning the H and the S and this stuff and the Stony Brook Farm. So that all aligns. This is a transition. So this cuts, and then this cuts through the photo and the rest of it, and then this aligns here, and it creates some kind of order. It creates order so it's easier to read. So when your eyes see it, you kind of go in here, where the stem is, you kind of follow your way through. You come to the logo at the end, which is what you're supposed to see. You're supposed to know what the place is. You have all the information that you need. You have just enough, and hopefully there's enough color and enough attention and emphasis to things that it'll just grab your attention, and you'll say, oh, that looks like fun. Now, you could go here and be, hey, wouldn't that be better if it was green? If I made that a dark green color, would that look better? Actually, it probably would. So if you wanted to throw some color in there, you could throw color in there. Why? Because I have green in here, and that makes it more unified. So now I'm pulling in the green from other places. I could go a little darker here, and actually, look at that. That looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. They don't have a color logo, but just by putting that in, that makes it really pop. It looks nice. This could work as a nice banner ad, like on Facebook or somewhere at the bottom of a website. How these things pop up everywhere. So that works out okay. So again, I was just working my way through, thinking things, and just at the last minute, I made this green, I made that orange, and it seems to really pop. So that's kind of the way it works sometimes. You just got to keep working with it, keep trying to get things to fit together, and it's never the first time. You may show this to somebody, and they might be like, maybe this should be different. Maybe somebody else will look at it and say, well, what if you made that green? Or what if you made this orange? And that's part of design. You're not going to get it right the first time. The first version is never going to be good. I might look at this tomorrow and think, oh, I don't like this orange line here or something else, or I want to glow or whatever it may be. But right now it seems to work. So if this was a billboard or a banner ad, it seems to work. And considering we just started with some kind of very basic conservative flyer, this works okay. So that's Fall Harvest Fest. That's the end of part 4. We don't have to go on to part 5, so we're good with that. So, try different things, see how it works out, but try to stick to the design principles and do the best you can. And when you're done, make sure you save it. Make sure that bouncing stops, and then you're going to share it. You're going to change viewer to developer. Make sure you do that. And then you're going to copy the link, and you're going to paste that link in the comment in my Warren. Now, I don't even have it in there yet, but I will, but it'll be under ex4, under Unit 6. So that's where you're going to do that, at least for spring 2021. And you're going to insert a link, and you're going to put it in there, and make sure the link opens in a new window. You know the routine, so make sure you do that. And that's what you're going to do. So that's ex4, the Fall Harvest Billboard.